We like to keep track of the economic development work around the Quad Cities pretty regularly on For the Record. One place that's struggled at times to reinvent itself is East Moline, but it's taking some big steps with hopes of changing that. East Moline is going all in on its resurgence by supporting the project called the Bend on the Mighty Mississippi. This is a mixed-use development that, when it's done, will cover 132 acres, provide 300 homes, and 3 acres of green space. The immediate work focuses on the construction of 2 hotels, a Hyatt Place and a Hyatt House. There will be apartments as well. Retail and office space will come later. It's a massive undertaking at the site of the old Case IH plant and in the middle of an industrial area. This is a $76.5 million development. East Moline has put up millions of dollars as well to support this project. There is the hope of 1,000 jobs to come from it. A convenience store is already on board to open for business eventually. It'll all be built in 7 phases over 10 years. Patience, perseverance, and persistence, though, will be required to ensure a lasting payoff. East Moline is also putting a larger emphasis on its main street. It hosts music in the park, summer concerts at Runners Park every Sunday. There's a new war memorial at the 9th Street Commons. And the nonprofit group East Moline Main Street will host its Freedom Fest, or actually hosted its Freedom Fest this weekend. Well, there's no doubt East Moline has an uphill climb. Civic leaders hope they're on the track to the mountaintop. One man trying to help get them there is Tim Kananashu. He's the Executive Vice President of the nonprofit Revitalize and Develop East Moline. He joins us for a conversation this morning. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Jim.
How confident are you that the Bend on the Mississippi will live up to its promise? What will it take to get there?
As you said, it's going to take perseverance and energy, and that's certainly in place today, and I believe it's going to continue to take place in the future. That the beginning is substantial. Things are moving along at a very quick pace. That I think in 6 months that you'll see the hotel completed. You'll see the construction of an event and conference center, as well as the an apartment building, followed by 2 or 3 more apartment buildings, and then the retail strip out front. So
it's amazing.
I'm very confident.
It's amazing to see the work they're putting into this.
Yeah, it really is. It's a lot of work, but it's going to pay dividends in the future for East Moline as well as the region.
How involved are you in the process and the discussions with developers themselves? Is everything on track in terms of the timeline?
Things are on track and on schedule and on budget, and that conversations are ongoing between myself, the city, and the developer on almost a daily basis. And so there have been some hiccups as to be expected in something this big, but it's going to happen.
What kind of hiccups are you talking about? Obviously, if it's construction, so you might have something break down here and there and that sort of thing.
Well, the weather held out really well for us during the winter and the construction season, and has also through the spring. Right now, one thing that we're waiting on, the developer's waiting on, is new market tax credits, and that they've been working with local people here as well as their legal counsel to obtain those. Once those are approved, which should be in a matter of weeks, then construction will begin on that convenience store, the event and conference center, as well as the first apartment building.
Now, when we talk about the hiccups and a 7-phase project over 10 years, is a timeline even that important when it could be off a couple months here and there? It's nothing too severe, right?
No, but the thing is you want to look forward to the future, and that I've laid something out for the next 3 years that if you don't have a plan, and you keep that plan, you're never going to hit that target. So, yeah, it's important to have that.
And I guess from a marketing perspective
Sure.
as well, there is so much riding on this project to be sure. What concern is there that East Moline maybe has too many eggs in this basket?
Well, the only eggs that East Moline has in this basket right now is a $10 million infrastructure loan that will maybe turn into bonds. But the city has protected itself in that all the increment that's generated is going to come to the city first to pay off those bonds before any other reimbursables are going to be made to any other party.
Well, I guess I'm not even necessarily referring to the city directly, but just as a community at large, hoping to see this revitalization take place, that there is so much attention being given to this as opposed to other things.
Well, there is this one, and it is the biggest egg in the basket.
Sure.
But if you consider from 7th Street, East Moline to the Moline border, and from 12th Avenue to the river, there's 180 acres there. There's the McLaughlin property that's for sale, but then there's another 33-acre development that's taking shape as we sit right here.
Now, I know those hotels will need to be busy and the apartments filled. I assume there'll be a decent commit from John Deere at the outset. I would hope that they're bringing people in and out. What's being done to make sure it's viable beyond, let's say, getting business from John Deere to occupy some of that space, those hotels and things like that?
Well, besides John Deere, there's a professional management group. Olympia Management is going to manage the hotel. and that they're already working with parties that to book the hotel, that there's a couple of weekends out in the future that the whole thing's really booked out. So there is an active marketing director as well as a managing director for the hotel that are already in place that are working on accomplishing what you just said.
All that sounds very promising. We have more to talk about with Tim Kananishu. Another tool East Moline has to work with to spur its economy. What options it can explore after a recent enterprise zone redesignation, if you will, for the record.